All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. So the first two I actually did just cover, but I think they're well worth doing one more time. So we're going to talk about Katra again. We're going to talk about that 34 cent line, and that crazy Thursday. We open up here, we run a little bit, and then a crazy drop. I mean, believe me, I'm excited to talk about that one. And again, I stress so much, and I'm going to say it one more time. The gap fill border is just harder to break than it should be. I rarely say, hey, go back and watch my other video, but like, go back and watch my other Katra video. Everything was primed and it didn't do it. I'm obviously going to talk about that in a second again anyways. But yeah, it's a really, really good learning moment, I think, actually. Siri is a good one. So Siri, I obviously was hoping for the break of the 50 moving average, but I kept stressing, hey, look, I mean, we haven't even touched this thing for a while, right? Didn't quite do it, but hey, the line's held, and hey, we're coming right back to it, right? So once again, it's about the 50 moving average, and man, there is a lot of red to green that can hit if this thing hits, right? So I think it's well worth some attention, and I'll talk about that one shortly. And then I'm going to talk about Wolf. So Wolf got a little bit of meme love today, maybe even yesterday. I think there was a Roaring Kitty, a tweet or something with a dog or something. I think we talked about on the Discord. I actually like this less because of some Roaring Kitty stuff and more because of two things. One, we're trying to break all the moving averages, and you know it, right? You break all five and you fly. And then the other thing really just is red could make an insane green if this thing hits, all right? So I think all of these are actually must-watches for Monday, each with a little bit of a different, not cooler, wow, look at that, Katra, each with a different little bit of a risk-reward play to it, all right? But excited to talk about all these and more, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I am so grateful for it, all right? So Katra. So this has been an interesting few days to say the least, all right? So for real, if you watch my videos, I never try to pimp out my stuff, all right? But I would strongly suggest you go back. I think it was on Wednesday. Yeah, it should have been on Wednesday, right? I made a video on Wednesday. I talked about this 34-cent line, and look, everything was so primed on Wednesday, all right? MACD, if you can look in the box, you can look down here, you're going to see them either way, right? MACD was positive, all right? RSI was a very healthy 64. Volume was on the 3rd day of a rise, and it was breaking the 50-day line. We were over all the moving averages. I mean, there was we were starting to bounce on the 8 as it went up. There was things to like, things to, I will even say, love, okay? If you watch the Wednesday video, I said it at least 3 or 4 times. The gap fill border, the place where the last little greens are, and then the my up here is, all right? That gap fill border, and again, that's definitely not a technical term. We are not professionals here. We're having fun. We're smiling as we're learning and making hopefully some money, right? But that gap fill border is hard to get over, all right? There are just so many. Man, I want to think of a couple examples. I can't think top of mind, but like, believe me, I believe that as much as I believe earnings are a crazy gamble. And you know, I always say that about the gap fill hits hard when it hits, but it's not the easiest to do. If it was, believe me, everyone would be hunting them, and just that's all we would play, right? But you sometimes need to be a little bit patient with it. You sometimes need to like just understand the movements. And again, I think what really made Thursday crazy, we opened, look in the box over there, we opened at 35 cents. We opened over the line. We gapped up pretty hard, actually. From there, we make a run all the way to 38 cents and then just tank all the way back. Again, I talk about I rarely make lines this close to each other either, but sometimes you have to. And I mean, red, green, green, red, green, green, red. This was a fast channel and it continues. It just continues to be a fast channel. It's a small one, but it's an important one too, all right? Where are we right now? Look, Thursday was scary because we definitely lose all of Wednesday, and we basically lose like a third, maybe even 40% of that Tuesday big candle, right? And clearly we come all the way back down to this line. Today's a little today. Okay, there's a couple ways you can look at today. First off, I always say Friday's a loser day. So some people just kind of expect that, and they just kind of, I don't want to use the word ignore, because every candle is important, every day is important, everything moves, all the indicators around it, right? But yeah, Friday, if you kind of go into already thinking it's going to be a loser day, you kind of can swallow a little bit more and like let Monday fix it, for lack of words. Today was a little worrisome, but there are actually some good things to look at. I think the easiest thing for me, look, I have two different greens. I have a filled in and I have an outlined. I have two different reds. I have a filled in and outline. And look, this is actually not a bad red candle. We open down here at 26 cents and we actually close up here at 27. People made that 3% more likely than they did lose it, right? The other thing to note is we fell all the way down there and then it came all the way back up. Look, I'm not a pattern person. It was a shooting star. So there was nope, I'm in the MEM one, excuse me. Let me come into this one. Hey, we got two people, welcome. Shooting star. Give me a second, this one. So we've got what kind of looks like either a long-legged doji or even potentially a hammer. Now, it's not really a hanging man one right there because it's not really like at the top of it, right? It's kind of at the bottom of it, right? So to me, maybe these are actually some pretty good little dojis, right? Again, I'm not the pattern dude. That's not what I am, but a lot of people actually really like it when the wick goes down and then the market says, no, let me bring you right back up, okay? I think the only real thing that does bother me for sure is we didn't get back over the 8 moving average. All right. Hey, the 20 held. So let's see if Monday fixes itself and get us back over that 28. Hopefully gets us back into the 30, 32. Look, I actually had to sell a good amount when we started to lose 32 and 30. I don't actually remember where my stop loss was, but I know by 30 cents losing, I stopped out at least a decent percentage, right? You know, I'm never here to tell you what I'm holding because I don't want you to be like, oh, this chart reader dude still has some. I should probably like, no, trust me. You don't know what anyone else is willing to lose, and that's like the biggest thing with it, right? But nonetheless, I am not holding as much as I was holding because we did fail this gap fill, right? I am definitely ready to pick it back up if we do break that line. For now, you know, I'm watching these two and I'm waiting. The scariest thing would be to lose 24 cents. If we lose 24 cents, it's going to be a fast fall down. Clearly, there was moments of that, but hey, the recovery was good. I don't know if we're going to be able to do a recovery like that twice, all right? So there were flashes of the drop. Just keep that in your back pocket, all right? Because if it happened here, it could happen again, right? We really need to get back over 28. I think for me, you really need to get back over 32 cents. Let me go back into the MEM one. Come on, tell me I can find, right here, 0.32. Must hold 0.32. What do you think of Katra? Must hold 0.32. When it didn't, for all I know, that's where my stop loss was, but that's still what I believe to be the important one. Clearly breaking that 34 is going to be what matters the most, all right? I think what I want to do, give me a second, because what did we just say that the high of the wick was here? It was 38. What was your close? Was 37. I'm gonna raise this. No, let's not raise it. All right, let's raise it to 35. We're going to raise it a penny. I almost raised it to 37. I almost raised it from the top. From the middle to the top. I'll bump it up just a little bit to 35. I think it's worth waiting just a little bit. Sometimes you got to set a little bit of a high criteria. Look, even if you wait for 36, 37, 38, we're trying to get to 60. Going from 40 to 60 is a 50% move. That's you know what I mean? And hey, look, that line is based on a silly little red, right? It's not like a green. So, oh man, there could be a lot. I think waiting for 38 isn't a bad strategy here. I think the line at 35 ain't too shabby. One more time, gap fill borders are hard to break. If they were easy to break, all we would do, this would have broken, that would have broke, like all of these would have, like it takes 1, 2, 3. On the fourth attempt, it kind of got to that one. Like we might be going 1, 2, 3 on the fourth one we go, for all I know, right? So just be patient with it or hit eject if we lose too many bad lines, all right? I don't think we need to look at the weekly. This is very much daily chart stuff right here. Excuse me. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I want to take a look at Siri. Okay, I just covered Siri a couple days ago, and I was very much interested. All right, a couple things. We had a nice little volume pop, right? We've actually had some nice volume pretty much since the middle of June. Actually, it's been a lovely month for volume. I think that's a very fair thing to say. All right, like just look at this in the past. Couple things. It was mainly red to say the least, and it was barely getting over the 50-day line. All of a sudden, there's way more green than red, and almost every single one of those is over the 50-day line, right? So this is beautiful. Volume is king. Volume is queen for my ladies out there, right? And good things will not happen until volume gets... I like football, and this is kind of like fixing the offensive and defensive line. It's not the prettiest and flashiest of positions, but you need volume. You need the line to hold so that the flashy players can run, catch, flip, whatever, right? So picking up the volume and holding and maintaining and staying over the line, those are good things. Now we need a couple more consistent breaks up, all right? And I think what's going to bring it, what we really are watching, is that 50 moving average, all right? This red line right here. I started the video with it. I'll say it again. The last good candle over that 50 line was this right here in January of this year. For almost the entirety of this year, we have been well below that red line. All right. And as I zoom out, I do remember, yeah, here was another moment, just living under the 50 moving average for almost half a year, almost January to June of 23. We've basically been living under it from January to June of 24. Look what happens when we break it. Woof! Now, what I also like is between there and there was a good distance between the 50 and the 100. Between there and there was a good distance between the 100 and the 200. Between here and here is a good distance between the 100 and the 50. Between here and here is a good distance between the 100 and the 200, right? So much can happen, and so much should happen if we can break the 50 moving average, but do not underestimate this is the first of the 3 hard lines, all right? The 50 is no joke. The 100 is that much harder, and look, we haven't even come remotely near the 100, let alone the 200, right? So do not think about $4 or anything just yet. I think the immediate target is probably 315. Nothing is going to happen until we break that 50 moving average sitting at 288. I think yeah, that's a decent candle. 290. I think it's worth waiting till 290, even 291 if I had to guess. I don't even know if I have an alert already there. I'll even do 292. I think it's worth, again, This 50 is no joke. We've also, look at this. This is an important candle right here, this Friday. We've opened over it. Look in the box over there if you can. The 50 average on Friday the 21st was sitting at $2.93. We open at $2.95. We run all the way up above my 301 line, and then all for nothing just to watch it fall hard, all right? The one thing, though, is this. I like that we failed, but the lines held. The 20 moving average said, you know what? Instead of you living under me and 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 under me, let me give you a shot. Let me support you instead of be this resistance for you, all right? And look, there's no guarantee that we're going to break it on this, but this might be the first step that the 20 moving average is saying, hey, you know what? Instead of being your worst enemy, I'm actually trying to be your good friend now, all right? The 8 and the 20 are a stock's worst enemies, and you can very easily see it here. All we do is just not able to get over the 8, occasionally do, but the 20 throws us back down, occasionally do, but the 20 throws us back down. The 20 didn't throw us back down. And again, one more time, in that same little view from last year, all we were doing was living on, I'll zoom in, let me zoom in, give me a sec, bump, 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 there we go, look at it. All we were doing was living under the 8, got up to the 20, 20 said no, 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 just living under the 8. And then, hey, trying to get to the 50, couldn't. Trying to get to the 50, couldn't. Trying, just living under the 8 and the 20. And then all of a sudden, it really was the break of the 100 that did it. This time, it might be the 50, just the way that the lines are setting up. If not, obviously, we're going to end up waiting for the 100 to come back down here. And maybe that'll kind of happen around that 315 number I just mentioned earlier, all right? I like the setup, I like the attempt, the fail, and the recovery. If it didn't fail, clearly I would have been saying black hole vortex, right? But this is what the lines do. The lines almost instantaneously turn from best friend to worst enemy and vice versa, right? So the goal is keep your eyes around and find those moments. That's why I love the Discord, right? That's why I love the MEM one. That's why I love mine. You just have a bunch of different eyes and a bunch of different people looking for things and this and that, right? So let's look at the weekly real quick. I think this one's worth looking at the weekly. All right, look at this thing. Look at this thing. And I think we have the perfect view. January 23, all we're doing is just living under the 8 moving average until June of 2023, and then all of a sudden we get back over and go. January 2024, all we're doing is living under the 8 moving average. We still haven't quite done it yet, but we're kind of trying to maybe get back over. All right, let's see what the weeks do. The RSI was crazy, crazy low on the weekly, a 4. My goodness, a 0.0 right there. My goodness, right? Makes sense that it's going to start coming up. I don't want it to just go from down to middle to down to middle to down to middle. That's not what we want. We need to turn this 25 into a 50 and hopefully go a little bit higher, all right? We got to break that 301. We got to get over these lines. But hey, it's trying. It's trying a little more on the daily than it is on the weekly. Just kind of keep that in mind, right? Like, that's not the prettiest back-to-back, but you can also say it's not the ugliest. And hey, look, we're actually still over the 8 moving average on the weekly. So yeah, this one's definitely well worth eyes next week. All right, let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's take a look at Wolf. So Wolf made some decent noise today, and it is actually moving a little bit after hours. All right. Look, again, I always say kind of try to ignore after hours unless it's like actually really, really crazy. But Wolf has a lot going on the technical side. Wolf has a lot going on in the red side. And Wolf just had a little bit of what sounds like some Roaring Kitty love, potentially. All right. So real quick before I cover all that, if you can subscribe, if you can share this video, oh, it does wonders with the algorithms, all right? So, look, I'm never a fan of letting someone else's buying dictate my own, all right? And I really, really hope that that means like me inclusive to you, right? Like if I'm buying something and I try to never let you know what I'm buying, I really do that on purpose. But just because my money's in something doesn't mean yours should, right? And if some CEO buys, that shouldn't mean I should, right? And if some CFO, some Kathy this, or some Jim Cramer that, or whoever, whatever, like, you never know. People can lose all of the trade and still eat lobster and live in better homes and enjoy caviar far more than I do. You know what I mean? So the way people live and the way people trade are not the same as everyone else's. And believe me, don't let other people's this and that dictate yours. All right. So Roaring Kitty, I don't know if he's buying this. I don't know if he's not. I think there was some sort of connection with some sort of tweet or something. I actually kind of don't care about any of that. I really love what I'm seeing. Let me stay zoomed in before I zoom out, okay? We make a, look, you break the 8, you go to the 20, you break the 20, go to the 50, break the 50, go to the 100, break the 200, go to the, oh, fly, okay? And we broke these, made our way up here, made our way there, made our way there. We never were able to fly because we never confirmed. Good candle, not confirmation. Good candle, not confirmation. None of these are good candles. Decent, decent, no confirmation. That's a good candle. And we need confirmation. For me, this is all about, I mean, let's just call it, yeah, 403, 404. I'll set an alert. Let's do, I live in LA. The 405 is the worst freeway in the world. We'll do the 405 freeway. I think 405 is a beautiful number. If we can break into the, actually, you know what? I probably should have zoomed out and used these to see what the line is. Oh, man. There isn't even anything over 405. There isn't. All right, what's that? Let's take the half of that. 403. Okay, I think 403 is our gap fill borderline. I don't know if you watched Katra or not. Just in case, look. This line, this is the gap, this is the last big green candle between all the way up here and all the way down here. When I'm looking at Wolf, all right, not Wolf, Woof. When I'm looking at Wolf, this is the last green candle between all the way here, right? And then this is going to be something. I'm not going to draw that line just yet. I obviously will shortly, but that is a hard line to break. That's a good candle. That's a nice MACD that stayed positive. Yeah, red is over green, but I'm glad it stayed positive. That's a nice divergence on the RSI. That's good volume. It seems like 403 should break. Katra on Wednesday seemed like 35 should break. Positive MACD with green over red. Good, healthy RSI, volume growing. You can maybe say Wolf had better, but better volume, I mean. It was definitely way higher than the 50-day average, but those gap fill borders, they don't always break, but this one's got a shot. And man, if it does, just all it is red, 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 green, 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 green possibilities, right? I would once again make another gap, oops, too much. I would make another gap fill line right there. And yeah, I would be thinking from here to here, from here a little bit up. I don't want to draw anything above this. This is far, far higher a target than I want you to even think, because again, this is a 3-something stock, right? If we can break into that 405, 406, oof, it's going to be hard to stop the train that takes us there, all right? Where's the weekly at? I mean, same story. And weekly is actually saying, look, because look at this thing. If we can get over that 403, the red, 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 red would actually basically take us a little bit higher, but roughly speaking to the 100 around 7, right? So the weekly looks good. Weekly just got a positive MACD, still a healthy 71. Not the volume cooled down. Hopefully it's going to pick right back up. And it's actually kind of still holding relatively nicely since, what is that, May? So, you know, overall, there's a good story on the weekly. There's a good story on the daily. Roaring Kitty or not, this has the potential. If we're going to once again fail, we're coming back down here. We're going to come back down to what? Let's call it 295. I think that's my fail number. Because again, look, we've seen beautiful candles that couldn't confirm. None of this since this candle, and yeah, no, just since here. Since this end of May have confirmed. January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, for sure. So just keep that in mind with your pocket. I think I said keep that in mind a couple too many times. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Hey, thank you so much.